everybody. Welcome aboard. Dr. Peter Glidden, your friendly neighborhood naturopath, your steadfast advocate for health. We're on a roll today, baby. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to ask you to hold your calls for the first hour. Hold your calls for the first hour, because it is my great privilege to introduce one of the luminaries in the world of network marketing. Widely considered the trainer's trainer in network marketing, our guest, my guest, has regularly lectured with the Upline Master Group, a circle of industry greats which includes the likes of John Milton Fogg, who fondly refers to my guest as the Divine Miss E, Big Al, Richard Brooke, Russ Devan, Mark Yarnell, and other MLM luminaries, known for her unique style, which molds a crackling wit with unabashed nurturing. She considers herself the shot of estrogen in the predominantly male-dominated network marketing group. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and my honor to introduce to you all Sandy Ellsberg. Sandy Ellsberg, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so honored that you would even call me and ask me to do this. So it's thrill is really mine.
Well, Sandy, listen, you're too kind, right? We're all in this together, for sure. So give the listening audience, many of whom, like myself, I mean, let's be honest here. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've only been involved with the wonderful world, and it is a wonderful world, quite frankly, of network marketing for the last, 4 or 5 years. So I'm a real novice when it comes to network marketing, but you have been around the block. So give the listening audience just a little summary of your career in network marketing.
Well, it's a career, all right, but it was more of a battlefield. And I have war wounds, the scars, the adhesions to prove it, but I'll show you those when I know you better, Dr. Glidden. So my world started, quite frankly, I was a school teacher for over a decade in one of the worst schools in the city of New York, Ocean Hill-Brownsville, Brooklyn. And the one thing that I can say about myself is that I'm an avatar. They call me the Avenging Angel, and I think I brought the first child abuse case through the school system to the city of New York 30-plus years ago. Even though I was told not to go forward, I just pushed everybody aside because I didn't want to take all the mirrors down in my house and look the other way. With that said, I further down the line left teaching because of an injury, and I became a colon health practitioner. And the reason I did that was because my mother died of cancer of the colon. So I owned a little clinic with 3 other people in Phoenix, Arizona, called the Center of Wellbeing. And we did colon health. Now, this is going back over 30 years. We did colon health. We did deep tissue massage, and we were the best in the entire state doing colon health. But you know what, Dr. Glidden, we also did things like acupuncture. We had a chiropractor, visiting acupuncturist, a homeopathic physician. We were like way ahead of our time. We did aromatherapy. I mean, we were really the bomb.com in Phoenix.
Yeah, and this is when, holistic medicine wasn't sexy, right? I mean, this is when holistic medicine was, the redheaded stepchild that nobody wanted to acknowledge.
Exactly, and everybody else in the family had black hair. Exactly true. And then what happened from that place was I got introduced by my husband to this thing called network marketing, and I was a student of some of the greatest teachers. I learned colon health from Robert A. Wood, who brought it to this country. Yep. I learned raw food and wheatgrass juice therapy from a close personal who became a close personal friend of mine, Dr. Ann Wigmore of Hippocrates Health Institute.
Yeah,
love that woman.
Yeah, boy, let me just stop you right there. The Hippocrates Health Institute, and that was outside in Cambridge, right?
This was in the Back Bay area, 25 Exeter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I grew up in Massachusetts, and when the Hippocrates Institute was around, I was in my early 20s. And the owner of the health food store, I grew up on a little island, Nantucket Island. There was only one health food store there at the time. I think there still is. But the owner of the health food store was a friend and a collaborator with Ann Wigmore at the Hippocrates Institute.
Klavinskis.
Yeah, can you imagine that? What's a small world, isn't it?
I love it. Yes, what a character, huh?
Yeah, what a character. Boy, we're good. We could tell some stories, Sandy, couldn't we?
We sure could. And you know what? They're all great. But they're all great because as strange as they were at the time, their information, their brain power, their stance is really becoming very commonplace today.
Yeah.
By 35 years ago, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
They were, the weirdos, the crazos,
Right.
The nuts, the flakes, the bowl of granola. They were all of it. and I of course gravitated to her. I went there with a case of asthma that was just so acute, and I left there 40 pounds lighter, no sign of asthma. I fell in love with the woman, but I also fell in love with the guy who was doing the gravity flow high colonics, and that was like, are you kidding? I was using the machinery, and it was just a horrible experience.
Yeah.
And I suffered through them, but I did them because I didn't want to wind up like my mother thinking it was genetic.
Right.
And little did I know.
Yeah. And
so with all that said, I got involved in growing my own wheatgrass juice. I became a raw foodist. I was doing the colonics from 8 to faint. In my little practice, I was booked between 12 and 18 hours every single day.
Yep.
And I loved it. But the growing of the wheatgrass juice and all of that, when I met Bill, he introduced me to a company called Life Force Spirulina, who had this super green, dark green spirulina powder. It was like dust. And when I was talking to my clients, I was saying, it's such a dark green you wouldn't believe it. It's, $40 a pound. My father thought I was a drug dealer.
Yeah, I can imagine, right? Yeah. $40 a pound.
He put 2 and 2 together, and that's what he came up with. That's what he had did. Let me mix you a drink. Because if you're not putting vodka in it, I don't want it. But, it was just like, those were the days, strictly Birkenstock and white cotton drawstring pants. And,
I remember
I
well.
lived in my... I lived in my clinic, and then the next thing I knew, Bill said, let's get all dressed up. We're going to a hotel. I had something totally different in mind, and we shared a house with another married couple in our clinic. We owned it all together. We never had private time, and he walks me into this meeting of 300 people for a company that had aloe vera and puts me in the front row. I'm wearing a low-cut dress, my highest shoes, flowers in my hair, thinking, what a night I'm going to have. And there's a guy in plaid polyester pants in front of the room talking seal talk, saying, it's going to be a really good evening, and then he'd clap his hands, like a seal, and then he'd say another few words, and he'd clap his hands again, and I'm going, get me out of here.
Like a bad vaudeville act, yeah.
Oh my God! And then he had some guy come off his tractor. I'm telling you, the manure is still on his boots, and this is the middle of the western part of Arizona on the west side where the farms were, and he's just talking about the juice and that he couldn't get on and off his tractor, and now he can, and then how great his sex life was, and I was like, I was just staring at all this, and I'm elbowing him, saying, "Get me out of here." And then he brings up his wife, a toothless wonder, and then they flashed this check of like $28,000.
Yeah.
35 years ago, $28,000.
That was money back then.
Yeah, huge. It still is. It still is great money. If you cut back, you can live, right?
Exactly.
So there I am sitting there thinking, what the heck is going on here? And it became a total Brooklyn Bridge to me, Dr. Glidden. I'm thinking, I'm from New York. He's from, I'm a project kid. I grew up in a ghetto. I had street smarts, and he was from the Midwest with the picket fence and the pies on the window. And I'm thinking, he doesn't have any idea what kind of, Ponzi scheme this is. I'm sitting there, everything is crossed, and when the night was over and the checks were flying, and I'm sitting there going, okay, can we go home now? And he goes, you're not going to do this? And I said, heck to the no. And he said to me, what's it going to do for me to get you positive? And I said, well, if you can bring home $1,000 a month, just $1,000, I mean, full tilt yours, and you can do that in 3 months, I'll be impressed. He says, would you give me 6? And I said, take whatever you want, but not more than 6. And at the end of the first month, and this is a true story, it's written up in Wave 3, he was gone every night of the week doing parties at home parties, hotel meetings. He was gone on Saturday training. He was gone on Sunday training because to have 2 different, religious groups. I never saw him. I'm in the clinic at 6 a.m. every morning. I don't get home till 10, 11 o'clock at night. He was never there when I went to sleep. I was gone when he was sleeping. And we were newlyweds. And my father said, so how much is he making? And I said, well, the truth of the matter is he's not making anything. You get paid the next month for the work you do before. Well, how much has he spent? I said, a couple of grand already. So when the check came in, I'm opening it up, and my father calls me just as I'm doing it because he's so psychic. And I'm opening it up, and he says, so how much was the check? And I could barely get the words out. I said, $111. He says, baby, follow him. He's got a girlfriend. Now, you'll probably laugh at that on Sunday, but what he meant was who works for every night of the week and the entire weekend, puts in thousands of dollars and makes a $100 check? Are you kidding me?
I get it.
So my father assumed the worst.
Right.
He proceeded to tell me to rent a car, not to follow him in my car. I mean, he got into the details. So the next month it was $300. The next month after that it was $500, and that's when I pulled the plug and I said, "You're killing us. You haven't made $1,000, but you've invested $3 or $4. Are you kidding me?" The next month it was $1,100, then $2,200, then $36. So when it hit $2,200, I was asking if I could lick stamps or take a letter or.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen.
And here's where here's where the monster was born. I said, I'm a first grade school teacher, and what's really lacking here is you don't have a what to do next. You don't have, here's your next step. You don't have a read this first. You don't have the simple guideline of where to go to get information. And on the application bill, I said it says independent marketing director, not codependent. Everybody's codependent on you because you're not duplicating. And I wrote his first training manual.
God, you got to love it. Hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought, Sandy. Hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's live today, and it's fun today. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. We've got Sandy Ellsberg with us, the diva of network marketing. Fasten your seatbelts. Pull over to the side of the road. Get your notebooks out. We're getting into the details. Very happy to have Sandy Ellsberg here with us, the diva of network marketing. Let's give her Dr. Glidden round of applause. All right, so here's the deal, Sandy, right? So you've taken a bite out of the network marketing apple. You liked how it tasted. You have a background with education, and you're a problem solver, right? So you make you kind of educate yourself about the ins and outs of network marketing, and you come up with a system to make it work like nobody's made it work before. So what was that like, and what was your career like since then?
Well, back in the day, you had a piece of paper and a brochure, and that was pretty much it. There were no computers. So we did things, those were the dark ages. Today, it's a whole other deal. From that company, I went on to be the top of 7 different companies. It wasn't a one-time, I'm not a one-horse show. So I've been on the mountain, dead at the side, on the mountain, dead at the side. Every time that I had to start over, I had to look at my career in the industry, first of all, Dr. Glidden, and say, what's wrong with this picture? I've been in 7 companies. I've been in the top 1, 2, certainly in the top 10 of each one of those companies. Some of them I have earned millions of dollars in less than 3 years. Yeah. And then they all went away. So I had to look at the thing and say, okay, first of all, what's wrong with this picture? So, and what's the common denominator? And the common denominator was they were all startup companies. Aha. And who was at the scene of the crime at every one? Moi. I said, okay. Well, after the 7th one, I was done. And I became an author. I became a consultant. And I wrote manuals. And I wrote them all over the industry. And I stayed out of the industry for 8 long years. And then I heard about Dr. Wallach. So I just want to say that. So I want to give you the rest of the track record in that I didn't go to the top once or twice. So I became this, almost like this enigma. How does she do it? What do you do? People say to me, what do you build, the product or the opportunity? And I say, yes. Of course.
Yeah.
And then I said, but the truth is you're building the relationship. You build a relationship with people that'll last a lifetime. And from that relationship, you learn which itch to scratch. But in terms of a system, with the grace of God Almighty, we all have the next 4 years Dr. Glidden, and with those of us who are on Doc's products, we have, a leg up. We have that insight track to longevity and longevity both. So
right.
We have the next 4 years, and you have to say to yourself, why is it at the end of 4 years, why is it that some people are earning $1,000 a month, a week, or a day, while others are earning $100 a month, a week, or a day? Why do some people earn $100 period at the end of 4 years, while others are earning it daily or hourly? And you say,
right.
okay, so, what is it about this business and about this industry and about systems that allows some people to go to the moon and back numerous times, while other people have been in the industry and hanging around the flagpole for 25-plus years and never saw $10,000 a five-figure a month income in network marketing, or even a sustainable income of $1,000 a week? Right. So that's the big question. That's really the question to ask. And then you have to say, okay, so what really is it? Well, you wouldn't go for a walk in the woods if you were a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout and plan an outing without one thing. And you know what that one thing is, I'm sure, because I gave you the key, Boy Scout or Girl Scout. Rule number one, commandment number one is be prepared. Exactly. A+ and a star. If I had a gong, I'd ring it. So it is be prepared. And yet, we as networkers go out every day because opportunity is disguised in street clothes. Opportunity is disguised everywhere we go, to all the different places we go in a 90-day period. There's over, some people go to 200 or 300 places, and yet we're not prepared to sample, to give out the best of dead doctors don't lie, or who made MD King, right, or serial killers. We want to give out a CD, and I always give out both. I give out one by you and one by Dr. Wallach, because I personally think you're brilliant, and you didn't pay me to say that. And and also very handsome. And so when you give somebody the sample, you want to give them the sample there on the spot. You want to get them to drink it, or you want to experience the CM cream. Then you give them the CD, and then you give them something to read, because people need to see it and hear it, or see it, hear it, and experience it, or experience it and see it, or hear and experience, but they're a combo, usually of all three. So why do you just hand them something to listen to? Or why do you
Stick
just
with
hand
that
them
thought.
a sample?
Hold that thought right there. Hold that thought right there, Sandy Ellsberg. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Network Marketing Gold. I hope you're taking notes. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. My very special guest, Sandy Ellsberg. Deal of pleasure to be interviewing Sandy Ellsberg, one of the luminaries in the wonderful world of network marketing. Now, Sandy, we skipped over something before. So you take a bite out of the network marketing apple, you like how it tastes, and so you start to get into it. And in a number of years, you're involved with 7 different MLMs, 7 different multi-level marketing companies. You rise right to the top of each of the companies, but then they go away. They disappear. The company folds. You're kind of left looking around going, well, what happened to the party? Where'd everybody go? And then you take a vacation for 6, 7, 8 years, and then
Correct.
You come back to longevity, right? So what was it about longevity and Dr. Wallach that drew you back into the wonderful world of network marketing?
Well, first of all, I was always looking the whole time I was out. I was always looking for a company. But as a health practitioner and an educator, I have very high standards, and I just can't market anything that's me too, or doesn't deliver, or doesn't. I can't use the word heal, but I can say help people, support people, guide people to high-level wellness, and not just absence of symptoms. And so I thought, well, somewhere out there's either going to be this great company, or quite frankly, when my nest is empty, which it just went empty, I'm going to start my own. And that's where I was. That's what I was breathing into. Right. And when I did an interview on the radio, I was asked after the show was over, "Are you kidding me? You're not building, a powerhouse like you?" And I don't mean to boast. I mean, my mother always said self-praise is no praise at all. But I have this track record. I mean, I spoke for Avon in front of 20,000 women, and you pretty much have to, give blood to do that. And that was a joke. And so, I have this, I wrote this incredible book for women, which is the #1 selling book in network marketing for women. And it's based not on theory, it's based at doing what I've done so many times. And so for me, I was looking for a holy grail. And I don't know if you ever saw the movie with Indiana Jones where they're going into the room with the chalice and the old man with the white beard says, "Choose wisely."
Yeah.
Well, I just felt like I had to choose wisely or I would just disintegrate into some skeleton mass of ashes.
Yeah, because he chose poorly.
He chose poorly, exactly. And I didn't have I couldn't go climb this mountain again and be dead on the side one more time. My children did not enjoy a price. They paid a price for their mother being in network marketing because, quite frankly, it's a 4-year degree like going back to school,
right.
Except at the end of 4 years, you're not looking for a job. You have a sustainable income, which becomes your livelihood. And if you want to then go pursue something else, you can because you have the sustainable income, as I said, which is either $1,000 a month, a week, or a day to live into your dreams and live into your future or, go paint in Paris or whatever it is you want to do.
So what specifically about, Wallach and longevity? What was it that drew you back in?
Okay, first of all, I heard the tape Dead Doctors Don't Lie when I was in a company called Life Extension many years prior. And I sent that tape into the home office, to the head of, the legal department, and I said, could we get this guy? Could we get this tape? I want to order. I was the top distributor there, and I wanted to order between 10 and 20,000 copies of this. It wasn't even a CD then. It was an actual cassette tape.
Yeah.
And I wanted to order, just from my downline so everybody would have a copy, 20, 30,000 copies of it. And then I wanted to market this, and I was told we couldn't do it because it was an extension of label and we didn't have him, we didn't have the product. I said, so go get him. But I fell in love with him, so I had a sense of who he was. What I didn't know was he had his own company.
Right.
And when I found out that he did, I literally got into my car and went down to San Diego, and lo and behold, you know what a miracle this is. So this is definitely divine intervention. He was at the home office.
And he never is.
He never, ever is. Maybe he's there 20 days a year.
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, that's even a big number. So the odds were definitely against me, but it was divine providence, and I met with him. And then I met with Theo Ratliff in Puerto Rico, and I got to hear his story, which I'd love to tell sometime. Yeah. If I'm allowed to on the air, I don't know. It's somebody else's testimony, but it's genius. But he had osteoporosis, and so did I. And I went on his exact regime. This was even before I engaged as a person who wanted to do the business.
Yeah.
And I went from porosity on the 90th percentile. I would say I felt like a 90-year-old woman with needing 2 knee replacements and rotator cuff surgery. 9 months later, I had the bones of a college girl, and my knees were fantastic. I mean, I was completely bounding up the stairs 2 at a time without the banister where I used to pull myself up on it. So I had almost the exact same testimony as Theo Ratliff, except he went on in his career to make, another $100 million or some huge number, and here I am. But hey, I'm totally satisfied because, I just love what I found here. But what I found was I'm used to the Robert A. Woods and the Ann Wigmores and the H.J. Rileys who did the 6,000 egg of Casey readings, and I needed to have somebody who could really lead and that you would want to follow, because the results that this man delivered was so profound. The fact that he had a CV, the fact that he did, that was just, when he went to Qishan, China and did that whole thing with cystic fibrosis in that province and did not get the Nobel Prize, it only makes you scratch your head saying, if you don't get it for that, what do you get it for?
It's the tip of the iceberg, right? And we talk about this all the time, that the books have been cooked as far as the delivery of medicine here in the United States. And I couldn't agree more, Sandy. This is the same thing that attracted me to Dr. Wallach, because number 1, he tells the truth. Number 2, he tells the truth. Number 3, he tells the truth. Number 4, his therapeutics produce consistent, specific, and measurable results. And it's science-based and clinically verified. As God is my witness, it's the best-kept secret in medicine. It's the best thing to happen to medicine since the invention of the sterile technique, and this, I think, works against longevity because nobody believes it can be that good, but in fact it is that good. Often I think that longevity would be more successful financially, if it just focused on one thing, like weight loss or arthritis or type 2 diabetes. But because of Dr. Wallach's brilliance, because of Dr. Wallach's genius, because of Dr. Wallach's unrivaled background with boots on the ground, old-fashioned autopsy and clinical research, he really has dialed in science-based, clinically verified therapeutics to support and promote the health of the human body in the face of a diagnosis of most chronic diseases. And this is what gets me up in the morning. This is what gets me on the radio every day. This is what gets me to encourage people just to give it a try, because holy smokes, it works better than anything I've ever seen. And just like you and just like Theo, we've got testimonials coming out of the thin air. But because of the Food and Drug Administration and because of the lopsided medical policy that we have here that favors drugs over vitamins, we can't post testimonials legally. We can't do it. And, we're attempting to pass a law now to have a bill introduced in Congress that changes all this. But, I digress here, but I just had to jump in because it's true that the reason that I got involved with longevity, and honestly, the reason that most people get involved with longevity for the business opportunity is because they got involved with longevity for the health opportunity. They had a remarkable experience, and, what are they going to do, shut up about that? This is one of the greatest potential possibility companies in the world right now. If longevity doesn't become a billion-dollar company, there's something wrong with the world.
I really believe it's on its way, and nobody could say it. There is no one, I think, in the whole company that can promote Dr. Wallach like you do, Dr. Glidden. Not only do you pay him such homage, but you do it on the facts, and the facts that this man has, I would put him in a room literally with 1,000 of the top specialists in all of medical science, and he would rise, the cream will always rise to the top. And he's so brilliant. It's like he's like this Einstein, when he does a mathematical equation, how the numbers move through the universe into his brain, and he's there. Dr. Wallach, when you're telling him what's wrong with you, he's already inside your body. He's really in there, and like a little, one of those cameras, and he finds it. And he finds it so fast because of all the autopsies he's done. A medical doctor maybe does one in their lifetime, if that.
Well, I'm a big golf fan, right? I love to golf, and every Saturday and Sunday when I can steal away a half an hour, an extra hour, I'll watch the golf tournament. And honest to God, those guys make it look so easy. They just make it look easy. And then, I get my clubs and I trundle off to the course, and I got to tell you something, it's not easy. But they make it look easy, and that's the way that Wallach is with science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics. He makes it look easy because he's had such an unbelievable background in research and pragmatic application. The man is God's gift to holistic medicine, no kidding.
He truly is, and he's a gift to humanity. And I truly believe that there will be many Nobel Prizes. Maybe his son or his grandson will have to pick them up, but he's going to have a host of them because he's so far ahead of anyone and anything in the entire world of medicine. And I pay homage to him. And so, this guy will not put up or shut up until he has stayed up, stored up, and prayed up to get this job done. And he really doesn't take any prisoners. He has no fear. And he stands up to his enemies. He does not sit at that table. He can't be bought. He just can't be bought. I just adore him. So with that said, that was the road for me. Finally, it was like, here we go. And I said to my daughter, I've done this 7 times. But at 7 times, I was like the Elizabeth Taylor of network marketing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. My daughter said to me, well, Mom, now you're about to become the 8th wonder of the industry.
Even better.
And so that's where the systems come in. And a system is a system is a system, and a lot of people make them, but they don't know how to. When you put a system together, you don't know how to. A lot of people do not know how to apply to, to respond to the individual needs of the person that you're working with. Even though a blanketed system, it may be great as an entry point, but then it needs to have some detailitis. So basically, to answer that question in the short form, and hopefully we'll have another show so we can do it in the long form, to do a system, it's like in this company, we have this thing called Daily Money Online, which is you can actually get paid daily with all the quick start money, which is paid like a JOB, where you can get weekly checks. And that's a DMO, Daily Money Online. So it's like looking to see what you did for that day shows up in your bank account the following day. So you can actually track a lot of your success daily like you would a job, a commission. And that gets paid weekly. But a Daily Money Online equals a DMO, because we talked about the other DMO. We talked about a 4-year degree. So if we all have the same 4 years, Dr. Glidden, we all have the same 48 months, and we all have the same 16 90-day plans, and 16 of them. It's always cut in thirds. It always starts with January, February, March, then it's April, May, and June, then it's July, August, and September, then it's October, November, and December, and sometimes you start at the beginning of one, sometimes you start at the end of one, but that's the plan. It's quarterly. And in a 4-year degree, we get 16 of them. Everybody gets the same.
Now, you ever gone to the movies and had popcorn, and man, it was so good you just had to sneak out and get some more? Well, this interview with Sandy is so eye-opening, she's agreed to stick around for the full 2 hours. Thank you so much, Sandy. And, we take calls, too, so we're going to try to balance two things at once. I'm going to go right to the calls now, talk to Kent from Kentucky, and then we're coming back with Sandy. Hello, Kent. Thanks for calling. You are live. Hello, Kent. Come on in, Kent. Did Kent disappear? All right. Kent. Hello, Kent. Come on in, Kent. Looking for Kent. Well, I guess Kent has gone by the boards somewhere. All right. So let's go back with Sandy. Now, Sandy, so how long has it been since you've been involved with Longevity now?
I lost count, but it's been at least 5 years.
5 years. And in the 5 years that you've been with the company, I mean, for goodness sake, the company's now it's a publicly traded company. I mean, they've grown like probably 600-700% since you've been around. What are your projections looking forward as to the stability and the long-term viability of Longevity?
Well, I think with everything that's going on right now, I believe that we're going to see 500% growth, I think, in the next 18 months. I really do. That's a big number. And you know what? Here's the thing. Other companies go out of the United States for their growth. But Longevity doesn't have to do that. They can make it all happen right here on their own turf, and that's pretty remarkable. Other people are running to the Pacific Rim. They're running to Africa, to all parts of Europe, India. And we're just home. We're just, we're hanging around the flagpole here, and we're doing it.
Yeah, and the reason that, at least from my point of view, the reason that Longevity is doing it and growing so quickly in this economy is because everybody has a health problem and everybody has a wealth problem. So, I mean, it's a perfect storm. So, when people are getting sick
with
and tired...
With a better ending.
You're right. Well, right. Right. So, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for people from a business point of view. I mean, where else can you invest, $500 to become a Longevity member and then have no limit to the amount of income that you generate, and the income that you generate is residual income, and the income that's residual you can will it to your heirs. I mean, you can't do that with any other business. And, this is one thing that I always, when I look at the world and try to figure stuff out, because of my grounding in the holistic method, I'm always inclined to try to get to the root, right? What is it that makes it tick? Why do you think network marketing has developed such a negative connotation here in the United States? Because it does. I mean, I stayed away from it for 19 years because I had my head up my you-know-what. What do you think was the generator of that?
Well, I think maybe the reason you stayed away from it for 19 years is because nobody in the industry, Dr. Glidden, ever gave you something to get seriously excited about, something that you'd be so passionate about you'd do it if it didn't make you a buck. Well, and that's where a lot of the industry lives.
Yeah, in that domain. They don't really have anything of value. They're really just selling the compensation plan, not the stuff, right?
Well, yeah, they're selling opportunity, and not that there's anything wrong with selling an opportunity, but if the product isn't sustainable, if the product isn't going to give you a reason to open your mouth, if you're just a song and dance man, then there's always another song and dance.
Exactly.
But there isn't another Dr. Wallach. There isn't another Youngevity. It is not duplicatable. No one else, as far as I can see, I'm just saying as far as I can see, through all to the horizon of network marketing, there isn't another Dr. Wallach, and yet there are many, many very large companies out there that use this tape, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, to sustain themselves. And they know who they are.
Yeah, it's a remarkable thing, isn't it? So, you rob from Peter to pay Paul. All right, so we're coming up against a hard break again. Thank you so much, Sandy Ellsberg. She's agreed to stay for the next full hour. We're going to be talking about the nuts and bolts, ladies and gentlemen, of how to make your longevity business survive, not only survive, but thrive, because in this conversation, the devil and the angels live in the details. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thank you so much for logging in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your continued support. This is Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. We're coming back after these words.